Alrighty. Howdy, all. How are you fine gentlemen this evening?
Pretty good. Let's do it.
Pretty good here, too. All right. Tonight's special feature is a little film called The World's First Flat Earth Engineer, Unseen Discovery. This one was suggested by Chris Harpner from Science Denier Hall of Shame, Science Strike Force, and this will be his hangout. So let's bring it up and get started. I'm told that I have not seen this. I'm told that the first part of it, the guy's talking logic, and he's actually making sense. I'm told, but we shall see.
Then I assume he quickly abandons, rationale and reason. Let's do it.
That's what I'm told. That's what I'm told. Here we go. Let's see what's going on here.
Hi, I'm Brian Mullen, and this is Balls Out Physics, Episode 1, Planes Flying on a Spinning Ball. About 7 months ago, or 8 months ago, beginning of the year on New Year's Day, I went and saw Interstellar, and I thought it was awesome. And it got me to go back and read this book for probably about the third time in my life, What is Relativity? It was written in 1959. Really good book. Very good explanation of relative motion. From planes moving across the Earth with balls bouncing inside them all the way up to things traveling at the speed of light. It gives a really
Making
good
sense so far.
explanation of Einstein's theories. And so, here I am, my head in the clouds, thinking about relativity and space travel and all this craziness. And I was, just bored one day, sitting on the couch, looking through YouTube videos, and a couple flat Earth conspiracy videos popped up in the that suggested videos to watch, and I'd seen those.
What are the
before,
odds?
And I thought to myself, "There's just no way," But I'm a very open-minded person, and I was in the mood to watch something different, so I said, "What the heck? I'll watch one of these." I think it would be good for a laugh. Well, about halfway into it, I wasn't really laughing. I was actually questioning a lot of things. And one of the biggest things that caught my attention was planes flying on a spinning Earth, trying to land on north and south runways. Because the Earth rotates from west to east, and things don't seem to line up based on the examples they were showing. This was all graphically, and so I started to look into this a lot. And what really surprised me at first is, I'm a structural engineer, and I've taken a lot of physics courses in my life. And I started to look into the curvature of the Earth and the rotation and the speeds of Earth, and it kind of blew my mind that I'd never really thought about how fast the Earth rotates or how much it actually curves. Here I am researching flat Earth theory, and I'm actually studying the curvature of Earth and the speed at which it rotates. I mean, there's some serious irony there.
I don't see
our Earth, our model shows it spinning from west to east around an axis, which is represented by this little stick, and the circumference of the Earth at the equator, right here, is, the circumference of the Earth is 24,901 miles. So at the equator, since that's the farthest point from the axis of rotation, and there are 24 hours in a day, the speed of the Earth is 24,901 miles divided by 24 hours gives you 1,038 miles per hour. That's the instantaneous velocity at any point along the equator. I mean, that's what it has to
he
be.
used the correct term.
Everything we're told is true. So that's really fast. That's faster than
Yeah,
the speed of
it
sound.
is. You're on a planet, dude.
761 miles per hour. So I never really thought about how fast that is. I always thought just kind of assumed it was moving really slow, and you don't really think about how much distance has to be covered in one day. But I also had never thought about or even calculated how much it actually curves. The general accepted value is 8 inches per mile, and I mean that's what it has to be.
All right. Does anybody want to yell drink for that? Or are we just going? Okay, all right. Everybody have a nice drink. We don't need to. In previous videos, we've gone over 8 inches per mile. It's an approximation to begin with, and With more distance, it gets even more inaccurate. All right.
Isn't it only accurate for maybe like 80 miles in any given direction from where you're at?
It's not accurate for 1 mile, but
Really?
the error increases as you move out. Anyway, yeah, we're not going to throw. I don't know if we actually threw up the actual formula, but let's let him go. It was an offhand comment to his. We had our drink. Let's move on.
That's 8 inches per mile, varying with the distance squared. Because
Factard said drink.
If you're standing, or if you're on a point that's just above the surface of the earth, or just on the surface of the earth, and you look straight out away from you, across water, of course, because land has mountains and all kinds of things. But going across the surface of water, at the first mile, you would expect to see an 8-inch drop down to the curve. And at the second mile, because it's a curve curving down, it's continuously getting farther away from that horizontal line that you're driving, that you're sighting out away. The second mile is 8 inches times 2 miles squared, which is 32 inches. And then third mile is 8 inches times 3 miles squared, and if 3 miles squared is 9, it gives you 72 inches. It starts to drop off pretty quick. And so I'd found that the Flat Earth community had created this. Someone out there did this. This is a curvature chart. The Flat Earthers are making a curvature chart. And they're showing how much curvature would have to be, we would have to see in all directions, because it's a sphere, anywhere on Earth. And this was drawn in AutoCAD, and since I'm an engineer, I have access to AutoCAD. The first thing I did is I went and drew a circle with a radius of 3,959 miles, which is the accepted radius of our Earth. I converted that to feet, which comes out to over 20 million feet, and started plotting points and finding that this is very accurate. This is exactly what you get. So I'm starting to wrap my head around how much curvature there should be, and that's quite a bit. And it's kind of hard to find it. So anyway, one of the first things I did is I set up a problem about the spinning planes. It was a physics problem. I studied relativity. I figured I could do this. The idea of this problem is that we are an observer, a stationary observer, looking at Earth, watching a plane fly. And this is based on a direct flight I took in college from JAX to LAX. The two airports are about 2,000 miles away from each other. And I flew there and then flew back, and I like doing the problem going back because it's more interesting that way. Because we're rotating with the Earth, and also a lot of some flat earthers out there have said things like, if the Earth is rotating 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, planes can't fly that fast, so they can't catch up to it, and that's not really true, because if the plane's already rotating with the Earth when it takes off, it's the speed it gains in the air is added to the initial speed it already had, so that's not true. But there is a problem here, and that's what I want to get into. So these two airports are 2,000. Here's my dimension line here. They're 2,000 miles apart, roughly. And we're just going to say they're 2,000 miles apart in order to keep this simple. Okay? And they're also, they're not at the equator. They're north of the equator. A little over 2,000 miles, both of them. Jacksonville's over here in Florida, and LAX is over here, California. LAX is about 250 miles north, I think 250 miles north of JAX in Jacksonville. But we're going to say that they're at the same latitude, just to keep it easy, to keep the problem easy.
Wrong.
So as I was showing you on
What?
the ball,
Wait. Was that a call for? Who was that? Mason? Did you call?
No, they're not on the same latitude. I can even bring that up in the flight plan, which I actually have right in front of me right now.
All right, so you're calling drink on that one then. All right, I'm with you.
It's wrong. His information is just wrong.
Okay, and see, the funny thing is, all of this part up to I think 11 minutes, I was told is the sensible part. So apparently there's good stuff coming. I have not seen this one yet, but we shall see.
move up away from the equator, the diameter of the Earth around the center axis decreases, so your velocity decreases. You can calculate this, and I played around with some numbers, and I got between 850 and 900 miles an hour for both airports. So I just said let's just use 900, just to keep it easy. It's a hypothetical problem, but it is based on reality. So the reality we're all taught to believe. So here we are. We're going to fly back to JAX. Sitting on the airport in LAX, we're going 900 miles an hour east. You know, the Earth is moving that fast, but we can't feel it because everything's stuck to it, right? So we're told. So the plane takes off and gets up to its cruising altitude, whatever that is for the day, 30,000, 33,000 feet, whatever they're going to fly at. And it gets up to a cruising speed of, let's say, the velocity of the plane, VP, equals 600 miles per hour. Now, since it was already moving, the velocity of the plane relative to Earth, which we'll call VPE, is now 600 plus 900 miles an hour gives us 1,500 miles per hour.
He's talking about ground speed. It's wrong.
Yeah, but it's relative velocity, so it only seems like 600 miles per hour to us.
Yeah, I guess that was another call to drink. All right, carry on.
That's the theory. So everything makes sense. We're moving fast, 600 miles per hour faster than the Earth is spinning, so we're moving towards Jacksonville. But here's where we run into a problem. Let's say there's a north-south runway in Jacksonville. And Jacksonville's runways are actually oriented kind of 45 degrees northwest and northeast. But north-south runways do exist. You can go look on Google Earth.
Wait, am I allowed to call drink for grammar and inappropriate word use, just basic English, or just for logical fallacies and general fuckery?
I want to say yes, but you know,
it might drag it out till morning. That's what you're thinking, right?
Well, like if I say 1 + 1 are 2, I'm still logically correct. I just sound.
Okay, I'm with you. All right, I won't call drink for each one of those. I may not be able to resist certain corrections, but all right, let's go.
You'll find they're all over the place.
You can always drink on your own.
Runways all come east-west, right on the water, or right on the ocean. So we get up here to this point. You know, right before they make the turn, the plane slows down. Okay, this is where the problem comes in. Planes cannot stop flying before they make a turn. They can't go to zero.
Oh, here we go. No.
Drink. That's why we have flaps, kids.
Yeah. All right. Good call.
Go to zero because a plane has to keep flying forward to have uplift on the wings and keep
Drink.
itself
Wrong.
in the air.
Wrong.
It's going to slow down before it makes the turn, but it's not going to zero. So let's say it slows down to 300 miles per hour. You know, and then it also this is the speed it slows down to before it makes this 90-degree turn or this right angle turn. So here, the plane, right before it makes the turn, is traveling at VP prime equals 300 miles per hour. And VP prime is just a new speed. Okay.
Drink. He has no idea how inertia works, does he?
It's also got its relative velocity to Earth, which would be VPE prime, is now 300 from 1500 is 1200 miles per hour.
Yes, but what about if there's a headwind or a tailwind?
Here, say the midpoint of the turn, it's got a vector of 300 miles per hour, which is its airspeed, this VP prime in this direction. But it
Dude,
also
how does he understand vector physics but cannot? What?
And we're still in. We're just coming up on 11 minutes. Remember, we haven't come up on the stupid yet.
1200 miles per hour. It doesn't lose
He's
that velocity.
set the stupid right now. He doesn't even understand
how
how
it
it
had that initial speed when it took off. The only way you can get rid of that is if you make
It's got to be the most night and day turn, man.
You know, when you get down here and you're trying to line up with the runway, you're going 300 miles per hour towards it.
Okay.
Make that look a little better. You know, you still got VP prime here, but you also have VPE prime. Well, there's a real problem there because the airport, the ground over here is moving. You can see that at 900 miles per hour. You know, we said the velocity of the Earth is the same at both airports. But the plane is moving to the east still at 1200 miles per hour. The plane is moving.
Yeah, he doesn't know inertia.
They can't line up.
He doesn't know what inertia is.
Yeah, if you draw it.
Okay, wait, now maybe okay. Well, one way or another, there's a drink to be called here. When I was reading the public chat for a minute, so I may have missed some of what he was rambling about. He's not now. Correct me. When he got over to this part, he's not saying that this isn't the old a plane in the air, but the Earth is turning under it thing, is it?
It's a really dressed up version of it, yeah.
Because I was hoping he was that all the talk prior to this was,
dude,
because he mentioned understanding relative positions before, and I was hoping he meant if observed from, say, space or something like that. But based on what he just said, if I'm not mistaken, he's saying the airplane turns, but the Earth is still turning under it, and it's that if I jump into the air, how come I land in the same spot argument? That's what it is, isn't it?
Yep.
All right, then the drink was justified. All right, let's let him blather. Blathering to continue.
The point over here. Actually, let's erase this and do it right here where we started. What you would actually end up with is a path that looks like this. More of a linear path, because the plane, if this point represents the plane has a vector this way and another much larger vector this way. So you're getting something.
This just goes to show
the plane is actually sliding sideways through the air
and still be.
That doesn't make sense. I mean, it's kind of.
Yeah, how is he not associating that the plane moves?
That's the question. Of course, people say, well,
all right.
The atmosphere. This is what I thought too initially. The atmosphere is moving with the Earth. So
yes, it is.
Since the atmosphere is moving with the Earth, it's like a fluid that you're traveling through. So it doesn't matter that
the atmosphere is fluid
your
now.
Initial speed was
900
miles per hour, and then you have relative speed, and that doesn't work. When you really start to think about it, it doesn't work. The best example I got from another engineer I showed this problem to was he said, "What about a fly on a train? The train." The air in the train is moving with the train, and the fly can buzz all around inside the train. You've probably seen bugs in a vehicle before of some sort. The fly is unaffected by the movement of the train. Well, first of all, a fly can hover, which a plane can't do, and also the air in the train is contained within the shell of the train. Earth does not have a shell that, at least so we're told.
Atmosphere.
Yeah. Okay. Drink. The Earth's atmosphere is moving with the Earth. It's just since it is fluid in nature, it can be shifted around by heating and cooling, expanding and contracting of air masses, and all that sort of thing. He's implying that the atmosphere should really just stay where it is while the Earth spins within it.
That's not, dude. I don't understand. He's an engineer. He says, right?
He said, but then again, that is the usual appeal to authority fallacy, because there have been the engineers that build roads and things of that sort that have said we don't compensate for the curvature. Well, of course not. You know what? When I'm driving my vehicle, I also do not compensate for the curvature because I don't need to.
Yeah, you don't need to do that when you have your little crap in the ground.
It's not part of the job.
Whether or not this is uphill or not. Stupid.
All right, that's
if you're building a road across like 40,000 miles. Well, then you would need to compensate for the curvature of the Earth, but you're not. It's like a city block, dude. Relax.
Indeed. Can you see the buildings tip away from you? All right, let's let them go.
That contains all the air. Space shuttles and rockets and everything flies through it. They leave the Earth. What's supposed to hold our atmosphere to our Earth is gravity. So we're told, air actually still has a mass, and so gravity pulls. Anything with mass exerts, as we're told, anything with mass exerts a force on anything else with mass, and they attract each other.
I wouldn't put it that way.
We'll get into that in another episode, because that's also a big issue I'm finding. But
how?
So the atmosphere, spinning with the Earth. Wind blows in all different directions. It's not constantly blowing from west to east, because if it was moving with the Earth, it would be blowing from west to east. And that.
Wait. Moving with the Earth means blowing still. And he said he understood relative motion.
He doesn't. He does not.
And he just contradicted himself that if the air is moving with the Earth, then there is a wind from west to east. Okay, that was a drink moment. Goofball.
Dude,
It wouldn't help us at all because the plane is
understanding
also
that
going from west to east.
streams.
So if anything, the atmosphere is just pushing it along. It's not helping slow it down. If you reverse the problem and go the other way and flip the runways around, which is what I initially did, you end up with the plane going 300 miles per hour too slow. And of course, if the atmosphere is going from west to east, then maybe you could say that the atmosphere pushes the plane back up to that velocity. But Newton's first law says that an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. So an object in motion relative to another object in motion stays in motion relative to that object unless acted upon by an outside force. It has to. The atmosphere doesn't answer the question. And the other problem with the atmosphere is air gets thinner as you get farther away from the Earth. So the gravitational pull on the air as you get higher and higher is less. So by conservation of angular momentum, air at higher altitudes would have to be spinning slower. And this is where the actual concept of dark matter.
What?
Okay, all right. We'll let him go on with dark matter for a minute.
Blow the brakes on that, dude.
But he made a quick reference there to air being thinner and obviously less dense, and therefore the gravitational field, not force. He made a reference to a force earlier, which is not 100% accurate. The effect from the gravitational field of the Earth would be less on it, but it's not gravity acting as glue that's gluing all the air in position. That's just pulling it downward. It's the friction between the ground and the bottom layer of air, and the friction between the rest of all the air molecules going up that keeps it all moving in the right direction. So the gravity thing is just not good. But look, he seriously said dark matter, didn't he?
Yeah, he said dark matter.
Okay. All right. Let's see what he's
comes from in galaxies, because stars at the outer edges are spinning at the same speed as stars in the inner ring of the galaxies, and so we say there's more mass there to make up for this, and that's another thing I'll cover in a coming episode. But there's no real answer for this. So I started thinking about.
No, Drink. There is an answer to this. The answer is you claim to understand relative motion, but you do not understand relative motion. That's the explanation for this.
I'm trying to visualize this, because we never do problems like this, in my engineering classes in college, we used to break down, we derive equations, calculus. We'd use calculus to break down equations that somebody else had already derived before, and I always thought it was annoying because, it always comes down to a simple algebraic expression. Everything in our world becomes very simple. It's kind of amazing. But, everything breaks down to a simple algebraic expression. We go through all this proof to back check what these guys had done. But
yeah, everything breaks down to simple math. Okay, yeah, try tensors, genius.
Never did we back check our theory of living on a spinning ball, ever.
Hey, Jeff,
we don't
pause
do
for a second.
Problems.
Sure, pausing.
Okay, what he just said was everything breaks down to a simple algebraic equation. If that's true, then Isaac Newton wouldn't need to have invented calculus, dude. What are you talking about?
Indeed, that was the same point I was mentioning, that it's all just high school math. I don't think so.
He's trying to make it sound like it's like honors 8th grade math, like
maybe so. All right. But when Chris suggested the video, he was right. At about 11 minutes, he really took the dive, didn't he?
He just stopped thinking. And I will say it again. This is why we peer review our work when you're dealing with science, because you're gonna mess up. It's a guarantee you're gonna mess up unless you're a genius like Newton or Einstein.
Indeed.
You're gonna mess up. That's why you have like teams of like 20 people checking one problem. Which is also why, when they found gravity waves, they didn't just jump on it. Like they worked out the math for like an extra 2 weeks and then presented it, because this stuff is hard.
Yeah, and the last thing you want is to put out a major announcement and then because you know what happens whenever you publish anything is everyone else decides they could get famous for ripping it apart.
Yeah.
Just like like the evolution argument. Go ahead, falsify it.
I hate the like pop science BuzzFeed fucking crap. It's like 15 ways on like how to defeat evolution. And it's like, what are you talking about? How? What?
Indeed. All right. Let's let Mr. Dark Matter, all math is simple, continue for a little bit. We're actually making really good progress in this one. We're at 16 out of 28 minutes already. This is nothing like when we had that debate fiasco.
The first 11 were sensible, and then he just took a swan dive.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm just sitting here listening. All of this is going right over my head.
Well, I could break it down for you as to why. Don't feel bad. The reason it's not going over your head, it's going way below. Because this is some dumb stuff we're watching. So
like somewhere below your ankles, man. Like he's hitting
dirt. Yeah, don't start doubting yourself. It's this guy. It's not you.
Although he has a good taste in hats. I like his hat.
That is something. As long as he remembers to take it off in the sun, because I've seen the people with the little shape on their head there from the suntan.
Oh yeah.
All right.
That was me last summer. I was staying every day, and then I come home and I got this like less black spot on my forehead. I was like, "Oh,
my dad." That happened to my father once. You know, they got 5 little holes on the top of the hat once. Yeah, my dad had like sunburn on 5 little circles on his head.
The summer.
Lovely.
So far away now.
Oh yeah, and what's funny is we wait all year for it. Especially, I mean, you guys know one of my hobbies is motorcycling, and my friends also like motorcycling. And the off season seems so ridiculously long, and then the weather gets warm, and you think, oh, it's that season, let's go, and then you blink, and it's snowing. Yeah. All right, let's let's let our friend babble a little more. Wonder what new surprises await us.
Why don't we talk about the curvature? Why don't we talk about the velocity? You know, I went back to school and took astronomy in 2013, and we kind of talked about this, but not in depth like this. And then the other thing I started to think about is, I live in Central Florida. I heard a sonic boom one time from supposedly the space shuttle landing. Rattled my windows and doors. It woke me up, scared the crap out of me. It was pretty awesome actually at the time. The landing strip for the runway at Cape Canaveral is north-south. The north end actually points a little bit to the west, this way. Actually, west is actually this way. But it's mostly north-south. And I also have seen space shuttles take off from the beach. I accidentally saw one. I just happened to walk out on the beach up in Jacksonville one time and saw one take off. And I saw it go out over the water, going to the east, which would actually be this way. Going out over the water to the east. And then it disappeared from my sight. I thought it went out into space. So it's rotating with relative to the rotation of Earth. Definitely. And when it gets up into space, it's still going to have those components. It's adjusting with we're told it adjusts its movement in space with air jets. Spraying mass out into nothingness, which I'm also going to do another episode on, because that doesn't make sense either. But
good, because we already have an idiot.
Of course, right? But you can't just go to space, just go up and see the moon. Like, no, it might be behind you, in front of you, to the left of you, to the right of you, to the
And we're gonna have to look into this guy a bit more, because you heard the reference he just made, right? He didn't say it in exactly those words, but what he was saying is the rockets don't work in space thing, just like. What's his name? The creepiest guy on the internet. Oh, Nature Hacker. Remember, rockets don't work in space.
Oh yeah, that guy. So, my God.
I'll go looking for that video where he explains what he just said, and we're not going to waste time on that. I'll just send him the link for the video we already have that explains rockets do work in space. So, all right,
we'll get moving on too. So now this shuttle is going to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, traveling at thousands of miles per hour when it comes back in, and it's supposed to come back in gliding. It comes through the atmosphere, and you've seen all those videos where the fuselage heats up, and it's slowing down, of course, as it's coming into our atmosphere. But if this thing is coming in at thousands of miles an hour, and trying to come in from either the north or the south end of that runway, and it definitely has components of velocity to the east or west, and that runway is spinning somewhere between 850 and 900 miles per hour to the east. I mean, this is insane. The little jets that shoot to the side and the shuttle aren't going to do anything.
Okay. Drink and drink.
Well,
Drink and drink. Once again, he's saying stuff that's directly contradictory to his claim of understanding the principles of relative motion. And secondly, he's saying that the only way to correct for the space shuttle's course is with little jets of air, which I am pretty sure that the thrusters involved cannot be described as little jets of air. It's now it has been described to me. The flying of the space shuttle has been described to me. At one of the NASA Hangouts I went, because I was very interested in the subject, as an attempt to navigate with a falling washing machine. That's how it was described to me, anyway. But still, there's aerodynamics involved. You don't need little jets of air, or as
there's this concept that it's supposed to be silent, but it's not.
Yeah, it would, and still, once he implied that he understands frame of reference, and obviously he doesn't. Once you're in the Earth's atmosphere and you're going in for landing, your frame of reference is between you and where you wish to land, both directionally and with velocity. And all right, enough said. I don't think there's any mystery about that, right? Moving on.
Nope. None for me. I get it.
I know. This is it doesn't work. I mean, really, try to think about this. Try to wrap your head around an Earth spinning. In all the movies we see of space, the science fiction movies and everything, whenever like a ship is coming up on a planet, the planets always seem to be stationary. Because if they were actually rotating at the speeds they would have to be rotating for the length of their...
Okay.
What they're imagining is a basketball spinning on somebody's finger, but it doesn't work like that.
Yes.
The Earth rotates literally in the dumbest down version possible. One revolution every 24 hours.
That's what he's not.
All you need to know.
And he's
That's what they don't seem to get.
Perhaps this guy's got an attention span much longer than we imagine. Maybe he's watched the Earth for 24 hours and said, "Damn it, it didn't spin."
Now, I challenge you to sit in your room when you wake up tomorrow and just sit there and do nothing for 3 hours. Yeah. 21 more to go.
They do it all the time.
Like, I don't know what he wanted to happen. Like, what does he want from the fucking Earth? To just feel like it is now 5:30 and a big ass heavenly bell goes off. Like, what do you want, dude?
I swear to God, flat earthers actually want the globe to kill people.
What does he want from the Earth? Please tell me. What do you want? Because it's not. I'm sorry to break it to you, but the mysticism and shit in the Bible and the real world are two completely, totally different things, man. I'm sorry. I want to believe in leprechauns and shit too, but they're not real.
Well, on this point, I don't know. Too bad he's not here tonight. You know what? Let me send him a link. Remember Jonathan Evans he just did a video
Wait.
Oh, there you are. Look at that. I wasn't looking at the screen. You snuck in. That's you just did a great explanation of this in one of your videos about scale, not understanding how big the Earth is, and them expecting it to spin like a basketball.
Yeah.
Right.
Like distance and all that kind of thing.
Indeed. The world's a little bit bigger than you might think. All right.
Yeah.
Let's let him go.
Days, whether it's Earth or another, fictional planet in a movie, it would probably hurt our heads to have to see the ships and and things rotating like that. So for Hollywood, and then to make things easier, we see it stationary. It appears stationary. Of course, you could say it's moving too slow, but
I'm guessing he's never watched the live feed from the ISS, which shows it appears that the Earth is spinning that fast, but it isn't. Obviously, it's because of the orbital speed of the ISS. I don't remember getting dizzy watching that.
It's actually moving fast. So,
not at all.
Earth is, at least. So anyway, here's the spinning ball problem, but we also still have the curvature problem here. We're flying a great distance, 2,000 miles. And based on the curvature chart I showed you earlier, there's a lot of curvature that this plane has to fly over. So, in architecture and engineering world, looking down on something is called a plan view. So we call this a plan view of Earth. And we cut sections through our plan views to look at a section through a building or anything we're designing. So what if we cut a section through the Earth here? This is typically what a section cut line looks like, something like this. Okay, so we're going to cut a section and turn our view, up, looking into the plan view. Okay, so let's draw that. Still 2,000 miles apart from here to here. And say, this is LAX over here, and this is JAX over here. Both airports are roughly at sea level. I mean, LAX is right on the water, and JAX is a little bit inland, but I mean, Florida's flat, so it's basically at sea level. So we've got this curve of the Earth, the amount of curvature that we would see over 2,000 miles, and here is our datum line, which is sea level. Okay, so no.
Okay. No. This is drink.
Sea level.
Sorry, I forgot to call it. I forgot to call drink. Drink. There we go. Am I the only one that sees where he's going? I don't think so. He's assuming that sea level will be that straight line that he wrote, and that the curve of what he thinks is the alleged curve of the Earth is the curve he's drawn above.
Oh, I see it now.
This is again. He's going to get into the old not understanding that straight or flat and level are not the same thing.
I don't understand how they could. No. Well, I do understand how flat earthers could be dumb, but I don't understand how one who's taken engineering classes in fucking school. Okay. So
it is a bit of a mystery. I'm with you on that.
So was he like the bottom of the barrel in the class? Like of all the A's, B's, and C's, he got the D's? Like, is that what I'm looking at here?
Well, look what he drew. I mean, I don't think we need to say much more than that. He described the curve of the Earth. He described the curve of the Earth, and then he said, and this is sea level. Well, unless he says something magical, like if we were going to cut a tunnel from here to there, this is where it would go. Unless he says something like that, I think he has just made a tremendously big mistake.
Making shit up. Got it.
Oh, and you'll notice, remember what I was saying before about where the sunburn would show up if he wears that hat all the time? Did you notice that's also the shape of what he just drew on the board?
This is no coincidence.
All right, let's let it fly here. This one's going very quick because he repeats a lot. So it looks like this is going to be a short one. We are 20 minutes in already. This is amazing efficiency tonight.
This is JAX. Okay, so this distance here, get something, use a different color for this. This distance here to the curve would be based on 1,000 miles an hour, 1,000 miles of distance. Excuse me. I mean, this is rough because where do we actually measure? Do we measure across the curve, or do we measure the distance between the 2 points? Miles are linear measurements, but
okay, linear measurements across the surface of the Earth. I think the hat's too tight.
We'll just ignore that and just keep it simple and say 1,000 miles.
Did he just say he was going to ignore me?
We're going to ignore rationality.
I just criticized him, and he said we're going to ignore that.
I love it. See, why can't I just ignore reality?
Is it just me? Is the skin on his forehead actually darker than the rest of his face?
This is good. Is this like a Doctor Who video where he's answering me even though it's a static video? All right.
Conspiracy man.
Yeah, and it is confirmed. He's talking about exactly that he thinks sea level is the flat line and the curve over is. I'm just waiting for him to say that the plane has to fly up and then tilt its nose down so it doesn't fly into space.
Dude, I swear, if he fucking says Kervison, I quit. I quit.
I'll shut down the stream if he makes reference to the Kervison.
Well,
Kervison, I love it.
I've had somebody shout that word.
You look on here.
Oh, sorry, cut you off there, Chief. What'd you say?
No, I've had somebody in the comments shout that word at me today. Kervison. I had to laugh.
Lovely. Love the Kervison.
See if you can see 1,000 miles.
Oh, that shot.
1,000 miles. You should, the height of your curve at 1,000 miles should be roughly 128.4 miles.
Oh wow! So your chart's wrong. Good job.
It's 128.4
Job, engineer.
miles.
Hey, Jonathan, wouldn't it be great if only we could convince some of the Twitter crowd that seems to detest anything Google so much to actually join us over here? That group chat over there would have a grand time with this, don't you think?
Oh, hell.
They got mountains of graphics to make this look as ridiculous as, well, this fellow's making it look.
Oh, pretty much.
Okay. Our plane takes off, heading this way, I guess, because it has to follow the curve, and it gets up to about 30,000 feet, 33,000 feet. That's 5 miles. That's a mile is 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. So now you're up here somewhere, and you're trying to fly over here, like this, I guess. I mean, you can't fly through the Earth like that, so you still have to follow the curve, obviously. Well,
you think?
This plane is flying along and follows the curve, right? The Earth is constantly curving, so the plane constantly has to be following the curve. Well, that's a problem because when the rudders on a plane are straight, they're, the flaps or rudders, whatever you want to call them, they're called rudders because it's just like a boat.
He's going to say
water. Air is a fluid, really. And
Here
so
it comes.
when you turn a rudder on a boat, it controls the direction of the boat. Just the same thing in the air. When plane turns its rudders on the wings or on the tail, it affects its motion through the fluid, but it's just the atmosphere that's flying through, and it controls its orientation and where it's going.
Okay.
So
don't say
to
it.
Follow this curve, the plane would constantly have to nose down. The pilot would.
God damn it! Drink.
There we go.
The engineer clearly does not understand that the upward force from the lift that the plane is experiencing due to its forward motion and the air over the wings and all the Bernoulli principle and all that sort of thing, the lift experienced by the mass of the plane is what is acting against the downward force of gravity, and as long as those two forces remain in a specific balance, it will remain at a specific height above the center of attractive gravity that's pulling on it. More force, fly up; less force, fly down.
Dude, I don't understand how when you age over the age of like 7 months old, you don't understand what the fuck gravity can and can't do.
Well, the engineer just made the same argument as the people who brag that they dropped out of high school because they didn't want to be indoctrinated. The engineer has just made that same argument as the people who are proud that they dropped out of school so they didn't get indoctrinated.
Can we not call him an engineer, please? It's an insult to Bill Nye.
I would. Okay, absolutely. We will.
Bill Nye is a real engineer. He has designed real shit. I'm pretty sure.
He works for Boeing. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, he was big with the 747 designs back in the day, and
with a pretty cool hat.
We will replace the word engineer with hat man from now on. How's that?
Hat man, I like
Would
it.
that
Hat man.
would that make you more comfortable? It'll be Hat Man, and if you look behind him, it's Hat Man over the Curvizon. So Hat Man he
Curvizon
is.
forehead.
Yes, he's even got the little emblem. He's all right. Moving on. We're killing this one, guys. We are 22 minutes in out of a 28-minute video. This is the fastest we've flown through one of these yet because he's only got like 3 points and he keeps making them. All right,
Constantly
here we
have
go.
to nose the plane down if that's how
See,
flies.
that's it.
And when I first
That was what I
thought
was
about
waiting
this, I'm
for.
like, that's crazy. You know, the Earth is constantly curving, so it constantly has to nose down to follow it. So I got on the internet and started looking.
Now, in defense of engineers,
but the way the
balance of forces that we talked about, a couple of minutes ago, would not come into play for designing certain things. I mean, airplanes, yes. Buildings, bridges, maybe no. Maybe you wouldn't need to know that for that type of engineering. The problem is, with the appeal to authority, there's no engineer of what that is involved. I'm sure he is an engineer, just not in a relevant subject or relevant field.
Yeah, but when the plane's flying around too, it's actually going through fuel and getting lighter. If the flight computer's having to constantly change the pitch of it so it doesn't pitch up.
Oh yeah, because of that, you know what? That is getting too complicated for them, though. What the discussion always is, and that's not what the flat earthers are thinking. They're thinking that if the Earth was curved, the pilot's going to have to be pushing forward on the stick or wheel all the time to keep pointing down. If we throw in an extra variable like the mass and the weight of the plane and the mass and due to gravity, the weight of the plane changing, that's just going to complicate it beyond their ability to comprehend. I suggest we stick with when talking to flat earthers, if it can't be avoided, if there's nowhere to run, or if you're out of gas and then they have the tank of gas for you and you have to talk to them, I would suggest we stick to simple. That it's the balance. it's the balance between gravity pulling you down and the lift you're experiencing pushing you up. Other than that, and you know what happens if you confuse them?
Airplane.
If you confuse them, they just jump to a different topic.
I find out what's been working for me is if you tell them you're making a paper airplane except with steel and real jet engines, and as you throw the paper airplane, its wings will just naturally catch whatever air is under it, and do a little flip or something, or whatever. Except with an actual airplane, you can control where you want to go with that lift. That's all you're doing.
Dev, you are a genius. It doesn't matter what you say to them. That's just something to say, right? The fact is, as soon as you mention paper airplanes, the flat earther is going to run off and start folding up paper airplanes, and you're out of the conversation. That's your plan, isn't it? You are a genius, my friend.
Yeah, evil genius.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'd rather have them folding paper airplanes than spreading their fiction. All right. Come on, Hat Man, tell us something new.
Enough explanations for this. People have asked this question before, obviously, and the general accepted explanation for this is that gravity does it. It's basically like it's going into orbit, and because you have that force, you have this force of gravity on the plane.
Okay. Oh my God!
Towards the center of the Earth.
It does know.
You follow this orbital path. It's like a ball on a string spinning it around. The force in the string pulling it towards the center makes it.
He's like a millimeter from understanding. If we could just tell him right when he said that, lift. That is the countering force.
One and done. Boom, boom. Next question.
He might understand it. And honestly, listening to this guy, although what he said is sort of silly, listening to him talking, he seems like a reasonable person, doesn't he? I mean,
I don't know.
Okay.
That kind of hat.
Slightly gullible if he watched if he attended YouTube University and suddenly decided the Earth was flat. Slightly gullible, but
all I'm going to say is somebody who could, find and decide, you know what, I'm going to buy this hat. Cannot be all that.
All right.
It's impossible. However, if Zionism wears that hat, I will burn every hat I see of that.
Whether or not they're on someone's head.
Yes. Sir, hold still. I'm burning that hat off of you.
All right. 23 minutes. Ah, this is going great. Here we go.
Rotate around. I mean, that's where the theory of all of our orbits in space comes from. Is that
Gee,
force
they work.
pulling
What do you
towards
know?
the center of mass. All right. But see, there's a problem with that because the rudders on the plane are not the rudders, the rudders, the elevators, whatever you want to call them, they're straight, but we're following a curve. Okay, so even though the pilot's holding the controls or autopilot.
All right, I know it's a repeat, but Drink, misunderstanding of that the rudders don't make the plane go straight. The rudders don't. The elevators and ailerons do not make the plane go straight. They just contribute to the lift versus gravity. That's what he's not getting.
Or whatever. I mean, they're making little adjustments here and there, but I mean, basically, you fly up and you level off. You know, you feel that when you fly on a plane if you've ever flown on a plane before. So, what if, you say the gravity is the explanation for that? I said, okay. I started thinking about it. That makes sense. I thought about things orbiting Earth, but what if the pilot, let's draw a plane again, say up here somewhere.
What if the pilot was on a baseball?
He doesn't want to follow the gravity for some reason, and he wants to follow a point, a line that is tangent to the Earth, like this, a straight line.
He's going to need a lot more motor.
He wants to follow that line and not fly. He kind of wants to fly up relative to the curve, I guess, or down, depending on which way you're looking at it. But so now he's got this force of gravity that's trying to make the plane follow the curvature of Earth based on the accepted explanation for what I was talking about before. So if you want to fly in a line that's tangent to a point.
Okay, it is repetition, but do you want to call Drink anyway, just so that nobody ends up with something in their glass by the time the movie ends? He's repeating himself, but you can call Drink if you want. I'm sure nobody's going to object. And somebody sent an email to Mobius so he knows it's time to have one.
Point on the Earth, then you have to fight that force of gravity that's trying to make you follow the curve. So now it's the same problem in reverse. Now you constantly have to pull up on the controls or nose the plane up to fly in a straight line.
What?
With the
you need more lift.
Cutting through the air, but you're flying in a straight line with the rudders actually angled like this to make the plane fly straight.
Notice he doesn't make any references to plane. Since he's talking about planes, he's talking about going into space with an airplane, which is stupid. But he's talking about airplanes, and he's talking about nose up, nose down. You don't need to do that. Let's say hypothetically, and Mason, you can call me horrible things if I get any of this wrong, but if you don't nose up, if you don't pull back on the stick to point your nose at the sky, but let's say hypothetically you just increase your speed.
You go find
generate more lift. You generate more lift, and you will ascend, whether or not you pulled up on the stick or not. This is just once again the counteracting gravity with lift. If you want to go up, you need more lift. You can nose up, or you can just go faster without nosing up, and more airflow, more lift.
Yeah,
is that basically accurate, Mason, or do you want to call me horrible things now?
Yeah, that's just where the flaps came from.
Call them names.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you know what? You can anyway. I mean, even if I was correct, you can call me names anyway.
Yeah, they just used flaps for that. That old design came from like the DC-3s in the 60s.
Because it's fun. Call them names.
Look at that.
I don't have the will.
I got my own anti-cheering section. Oh, great.
Mason just called you a loser. I saw it.
Oh, no.
You have to get out the bloody air horn again.
No, not. You know what? We're at least we're 3 minutes from the end of the. He's only made for the last 10 minutes. He's only made the same point over and over again. All right, so yeah, it was.
He's not an engineer. We already established that.
You said we were not allowed to call him that anymore. He is Hat Man.
Not.
Absolutely.
0% engineer.
Even though he graduated with a diploma that specifically says Hat Man on it, even though he graduated Hat Man school, he still does not. he's- he still does not comprehend
Hatman's
very relatively simple concepts. I mean, you know, I mean, actually, in some in a lot of fields of engineering, believe it or not, one of the major tools for demonstrating various things is the slinky. I'm thinking we ought to send him a couple of those, so we could demonstrate upward and downward force, and he could just have a ball, learn about wave motion. But all right, we have about 3 minutes left, and then we will no longer have to be exposed to what appears to me to be a relatively intelligent but incredibly gullible individual. So let's let it fly. Let's let it
That
fly.
doesn't make any sense. This doesn't work. That's not an explanation. Gravity is not doing this. Where's this curvature? And when you fly in a plane, you'll notice when you look out the window, the horizon, of course, looks flat, and we're told that the Earth is too big.
Oh my God!
And it's also at high level.
Same old argument yet again.
All right. Yes, indeed. And Dev, do you live on the ground floor? Because I don't want you jumping out any windows and hurting yourself from this guy.
But I will go use my neighbor's windows if I need be.
All right, I was gonna say, if you got a 2-story, head downstairs, because you know what I would say, safety first.
If there's really a curve, there should be a drop. Now this one, people argue about this one. It's a big argument in the flat Earth, round Earth community, but it's becoming a huge debate on the internet. More and more people are waking up.
Round
to
Earth
this.
is now
It's pretty
It's
amazing.
only a debate among idiots.
That's true. Among everyone
It's only
else,
a debate about people who are like, how does paint dry? I put it on wet. Like, really?
paint doesn't dry. There's no trees on the flat Earth.
Fucking thing again.
That's gone, right? We don't hear any reference to that crap anymore, do we?
No, I don't think so.
All right, because that was something that was even too dumb for the flat. At first, they jumped on it like, "Ooh, another secret conspiracy designed."
But even if it was a thing, what the fuck's it going to do with flat?
Nothing. Jack diddly shit squat. Nothing.
Okay, so Dev, you're saying that you suspect it's not connected in some way.
These people will believe a fire imp drives their clothes in the fucking drying machines. All right, these are not smart people. Exhibit A, the pseudo engineer here, who can't even draw a to scale model on his whiteboard on his video. It's his video,
and he's got a model to work from on his hat. All right, where's closing in on it, friends? Let us.
That was the best diversion ever.
Indeed.
And what we're not taught in school is, in the late 1800s, there was a raging debate going on between, flat earthers and globulists.
Oh, I heard a call for drink somewhere out there. Did I not?
Really just try to cite the fucking 1800s as like scientific validity.
He did, and plus, I don't think there was not really a debate. There were. Had there been an internet and instantaneous communication where these 7 flat earthers could actually talk to each other and appear to be a big group, then yes, maybe there would have been. But
no, you see, what's happening is we have a situation where there's like 100,000 or so people who just failed school, or they're like this guy who graduate college and just refuse to apply their knowledge. They refuse. They have to. Okay. Because if they use what they learned, they will quickly find out that's fucking stupid. I didn't carry like a 0 or something. Like, it'll be so easy.
Well, there were, 1800s. I think things were pretty much understood a long time before the 1800s. I mean, even the popular mythology that Columbus was trying to prove the world was spherical. Even back then, no, he didn't cook up that idea. So anyway, all right. Blather on, Hat
I
Man.
recall, people still believe that the Earth was flat. Well, Columbus didn't sail to America and prove, and everybody just started believing the Earth was a ball. A lot of people didn't believe it, and there's actually I've read some testimonies from civil engineers in the 1800s that just say it's ridiculous. We're talking about laying train track and all kinds of things.
What does that mean to like reality, dude? Like, who cares if people from the fucking 1700s or so didn't believe the Earth is fucking round? Who cares? What does that prove now? We know it is. We've been to space. We've been to the moon. We've sent probes to fucking Pluto, dude. Who cares? Who cares?
Silence.
Exactly. If no one cares.
There we go.
So I'm at a loss here. I don't know what to think. I'm kind of thinking it's flat and stationary. I've gone to Lake Apopka and I've taken my telescope there, and on the south end of the lake, Lake Apopka is one of the biggest lakes in Florida. I think it's the second biggest. On the south end of the lake with my telescope sitting 3 feet above the shore, I can see the North Shore 8 miles away. Well, based on the curvature chart, there should be, what is that? Based on 8 miles, I should have a 43-foot drop from one side to the other. I shouldn't be able to see the shore. There should be a curve of water in my way. You can't see it on a rough day when the waves are in the way, but on a calm day, you can. That doesn't make sense. I should not be able to see that. So I don't know what's going on here. I've had my world turned upside down or right side up by this. I've spent a lot of time researching this, a good 7 months, and I've seen a lot of different things. There's a lot of topics to talk about, but this is the one I thought I'd start with. So, you guys out there, you can leave comments, call me crazy if you want to, but you got to give me an explanation for this if you're going to call me crazy, and help me out here. I'd love to go back to believing that I live on a spinning ball, and if this isn't some massive conspiracy and we all haven't been duped. But human beings are very easy to fool. And it's actually much easier to fool a human being than to convince a human being that they have been fooled.
Yeah, Exhibit A, Hat Man.
We don't know where we come from. We don't even know how our thought process actually work. We don't know how we're able to simultaneously create thoughts and perceive them at the same time. We still can't explain that. So what do we really even know? Anyway, that's getting off topic.
Is this guy?
This is episode 1. We'll be getting into more. I'll have many more episodes after this, hopefully. So until next time.
All right,
peace.
you know what? Drink, dude. I'm done.
Okay. All right.
Really baffled by how the fucking brain works. He's been alive for at least 30 years, looks like, by his, beard and hat style. He has to understand that. He has to.
One would imagine.
If you're over the age of maybe 5 or 6, you know how your brain works. Maybe, sure, yeah, science can't quantify it into a mathematical equation, but everyone has a brain. We know how it fucking works. That much is understood.
All right. Well, there were benefits to this. At least we did get through the foolishness rather quickly. I would say that was a plus. Would you guys agree that maybe Hat Man is our friend?
Oh yeah, right. Definitely a plus. I don't want to deal with that shit a moment longer than I have to.
Yeah.
And like Eric, 6 seconds in, drink.
6. No one's beaten that because he's stupid.
All right, that's we issued that challenge last week, did we not? That somebody, yeah, that's right. And anybody, and this includes anybody watching publicly, if you want to submit a video that less than 6 seconds in, you suspect there will be a call to drink, we'll do that video, and if that one wins, you get a Darwin fish. And the good one with the magnet, not the crappy one with the sticker that messes up your paint on your vehicle. So that challenge is still there. If you can find a video where the stupidity starts in less than 6 seconds, you will be shipped a brand new Darwin fish to offend all of your highly religious neighbors.
That seems fair.
All right.
So it's earlier than we usually get done. Do we have like a time for one more, like a half of one?
Oh, I don't. This is for God's sake. Everybody,
Are you
I'm
mad?
all worked up now, man. Friggin', bring on Ken Ham. Screw it, let's do it.
you want ham? You want ham?
Give me the full ham sandwich.
Let's do Jeranism, please. Or Flat Earth Asshole. That guy's got really on my skin.
All right.
We're gonna do another one. I might have a friend that'll join us.
Did you? Well, put out the link to whoever you like. You have the same contacts I do. By all means, if we have room. We got a good crowd already, but we have room. Oh. Atheist Rex is asking us just how much stupid can we stand? I was willing to. I'm really thinking. Let's let it go. Let's let it go and talk about something else for a while. Maybe let one of you fine people throw some logic into the. You know what, hey Jonathan? Well, we got a break. Why don't you put a plug in for your channel? You're making nice videos over there. Talk about it. Say what your last one's about. Let everybody know.
Oh, I think it was one of Flat Earth Asshole's videos I looked at.
Yes, indeed, that's the one.
Yeah. Well, it was like an old video, but he just looks at ISS, live stream, then complains that there's stuff floating in the way, and I don't know. I'm not good at this stuff, but
He's looking at the ISS.
All right, what Jonathan's trying to say is he's got a decent channel. He makes videos fighting the good fight. Go over there and subscribe to him. That's what he's trying. That was what you're trying to say, right, Jonathan?
Yeah, it must have come across in a different language. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's I was able to translate it. That's what he meant.
It came across in that, in that
videos. And it's hilarious when he loses patience. When he loses patience with the flat earthers, I will tell you from watching him, it's absolutely hilarious.
It was the other guy when I tried to do that answering questions that Flat Earth, the Globe Earthers can't answer one. The bit about the periscope. How do periscopes work? How do periscopes work if water's not flat?
Yes. Love your response.
Like, periscopes stick above the waterline, you tool. Jeez.
Yeah, and that was just one because Jonathan, he's normally very polite, and you don't expect him to just come out with that. And unfortunately, he inspired another coffee out the nose moment. So, but it was well worth it.
It was like, when he says, how does radar work if the Earth's not flat? Does he even know how radar works?
Yeah, apparently not. It's as you. I mean, starting at light, as you go down in frequency, you get more line of sight becomes less of an issue.
Yeah.
And until you get down to the broadcast band and below, then you can go way to hell over to Curvison. But
I like
wait a minute. Yeah, wait a minute. You didn't ask. I'm answering your question. You did not ask. You were asking if he understood it. All right, forgive me. The mug of truth is larger than you guys know.
The one that always annoys me is when they keep on asking, why doesn't the Hubble Space Telescope just turn around and take a picture? That winds me up. That
not designed for that.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I'm not sure, but it might be able to get a fairly good picture of the wave runner in my driveway.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure it's set up to focus on things of that magnitude at that field of view from where it presently is.
And also need to remind NASA to put every satellite with selfie sticks to make sure there's always real pictures.
Absolutely. Why are there no real pictures of satellites? And you answered that one. There are while they're being built. As a matter of fact, I think when I was at Goddard, in the world's largest publicly known. For some reason, they found it necessary to inject publicly known into the sentence. But it was the world's largest publicly known clean room, where that's what they do. They were that's where they build such things. And you can, I mean, yes, there are pictures. We have pictures of it. I don't think I made a video of that, but we have pictures of it on our website, on our I think our Facebook page. But yeah, your answer to that was ideal. Why are there no pictures of satellites? Well, they're not parked right next to each other.
It's just
that
that, like in that video, you could say the same stuff over and over again. Why can't you see satellites from the ISS? Well, I hate
if you
that
could,
question.
yeah, if you could, life's getting pretty dangerous. And then they'll say, well, why have there never been any impacts from space, John? There have.
Plenty,
So
just
far,
not with the ISS, man.
yeah. So far they've been minor. So far it's been a little fragment, but traveling at high speeds is kind of frightening. And there are designs in the structure to compensate for such small scale impacts. Now, if an entire satellite comes flying at them, no,
That's a problem.
There's nothing that's gonna, and if you can see just with the naked eye another satellite looking out the cupola window, something bad has happened. Yes, someone at ground control is not doing their job.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, yeah, it's a frustrating battle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's constant. It's like when in that video against Flat Earth, it's like why can't I see any planes from the ISS?
What the hell was he talking about? It's like, what's next? Why don't if that's really the Earth? Why don't I see people down there? Scale is a completely alien concept.
Planes you can barely see the physical object of a plane at about 40, 50,000 feet, only just. You can see its contrail, and that's about it. But the ISS is 240 miles high, for crying out loud. That's like trying to spot a fly at 2 miles, essentially. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I remember that one. Why don't we see planes? Or people. Or bugs. You don't see it. Look at how many bugs they say are on the Earth. You can't see any bugs from the ISS.
Ugh.
So you mean to tell me, atheists, that there's 65 million bugs and I can't see one? Bullshit.
Absolutely. And with the amount of satellites currently in orbit, have you seen the graphic from another straw man from Flat Earth World, where they show a picture, a little cartoon picture of the Earth with just a bunch of blue dots that looks like a cloud that's supposed to represent satellites, completely misunderstanding the concepts of how much space there really is. I mean, even if they were at ground level, you could park every one of them and not be able to see one from the next.
Yeah.
But as you ascend, the distance between obviously grows proportionately greater. So why don't we see satellites whizzing by left and right? Well, part of it's planning, and part of it is there's a hell of a lot of room in space. Nobody gets it.
That's why it's called space.
Well, yeah, when you got 69 million light years to work with, you can fit a lot of shit in that space.
Indeed. But yeah. Oh, yeah. And with the no pictures of satellite, we have pictures of specifically one of the coolest ones that hopefully is going to be up soon. Had a little issue that they were resolving. I don't remember what the resolution was. They were found out from the heavy vibration test. The Webb telescope, the James Webb telescope. And we definitely have pictures of that. Now they're going to say that that's just a prop, but that will be interesting.
I just say let them say what they're going to say, and and people stuck in reality here, could just kind of like laugh at them. I mean,
well,
if you can't, not worried.
Well, it's like Journalism's live debunking of the recent spacewalks.
I didn't watch it. I saw it while it was. I saw it while it was live, but I was driving. I couldn't. So look, it's live, but I was driving. I couldn't click on it. I'm guessing you suffered through some of it.
Like, yeah.
You mentioned this bit. Well, here's where I think they're using the scuba divers. You might not be able to see them all because they edit them out, but they might miss one occasionally.
You edit them out in live time. Live.
And then he just claims that he's knowing exactly what the astronauts are doing at that present moment.
Dude, does he know how long it takes to open CS3 Photoshop? It takes like 40 minutes.
I think we may have given Atheist Rex a headache. I see he types, "Oh Jesus, that guy." I think maybe mentioning Jeranism.
I don't think Jeranism knows how long it takes to actually do what you want to do in a Photoshop or a video editing a software, and then cut it and try to pass it off as a live stream. Dude, it takes at the least 10 minutes.
It's like I've seen some flighter that's honestly used that I can see the astronaut's thumb through the glove argument still.
Well,
I love that argument. It's so funny.
Indeed. Well, you know what? Now, so he did a live stream. Did he? Is it archived? Is it still up, or was he just broadcasting while it was going?
It's on. He posted on Twitter a minute ago.
All right. So then the recording is up. Then. All
it's
right,
about 4 hours long.
Oh.
The whole thing is anyway.
Lovely. All right. I will. Who knows? Maybe that's another option for a future movie night. Next week, I'm thinking Mr. Ham because he's got apparently an evolution bug biting him on the backside, and I'm just itching. I'm just itching to see what his bought and paid for scientists have to say about evolution. I'd be very interested in that. But maybe next week we'll do Ham. But or you think we ought to look into that? That live debunking of the spacewalk. Think we ought to do that one next?
Sure, why not?
All right. He's always good for a laugh. We're gonna do his though. We're gonna have to go into his comments too. Like when he just showed what the hell was it? A while ago, he had just pictures of a rotating moon from a that was supposedly it was images from the from an orbiter, and that was it. For the entire feed, it was that with a few cartoon figures thrown in. And if you look at the comments, it is so disturbing. The first thought that occurs to you is, how does one opt out of the human species? It's quite disturbing. Anyway, all right. So, what do you think, guys? Shall we wrap it up?
Yeah, play those sick tunes, bro.
All right, we'll bring on the pug. We will bring on the pug, and I do appreciate you guys taking time to participate as usual, and everybody in the chat who's watching. Thanks for coming, and we will definitely see you next time. See you next Friday. Here we go.